We're here today in each case on a status hearing. We are conducting this through Zoom. I'm recording to the Zoom cloud. If you need a copy, let me know and we'll make it available. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Paul Ramirez is my permanency specialist, and we're present ready.
Lorraine Lucero on behalf of Jessica Robertson, Your Honor, the mother in all three cases, and we're both present and ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the kids.
All right, and in the Nayeli and Casey Nicole case, Mr. Harwood is not present, but I think, isn't this the case that his client has executed a relinquishment?
He has, Your Honor. I was just looking. I don't think we have filed it yet. I kind of talked to Mr. Harwood a couple weeks ago, but we do have a copy of it. We just haven't filed it yet. And Judge, I have that CASA is on this case. Are they?
I thought I let somebody in, but hang on, I'm looking. That's the Fletcher case. So I don't have anybody else logged in right now. So
Okay.
I'll watch the waiting room to see if we're getting anybody in.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. What do we have new from St. Francis since the court report was filed?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, a lot has happened actually over this past few weeks. All four children had been placed with the maternal great grandmother, and this placement had proved to be very chaotic and unsafe for the children. All four children ended up being removed from that placement. There was a lot of infighting in between all the adults. The mother was fighting with the uncle, and the uncle was fighting with the grandmother, and the mother was fighting with the grandmother, and then the children were fighting amongst themselves, and it was just very chaotic and not conducive for the children's well-being. It came to a head basically when the children started fighting, and then the grandmother slapped Casey, and then the children began to tell Casey that she needed to kill herself. And one of the children began to tell Casey how Casey could do that by electrocution. And here's the knives.
Ms. Mears, hold on a second. Your Honor, if we don't get into a lot of this, we may go off YouTube. I would make a motion to.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, to protect the privacy and confidentiality of the children involved, if we're getting into these kind of areas, I'm going to stop the live stream. I'll close the courtroom, and I will reopen that we're here today on our initial permanency end of this hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming. And right now I'm recording to the Zoom cloud. So if anybody needs a copy, let me know and we will make it available. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements from everyone.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Rachel Peoples is my permanency specialist. We're present ready.
Bailey Sapien on behalf of Ocurrs Chandler. I see a screen that has her name, but I can't see the picture, so I think she's present.
T.D. Hammonds for the father of Talia Israel Garza. He's in the Potter County Jail, Judge, awaiting transport to Safe P. I spoke to him yesterday. I'm ready to proceed.
Jay Michelson on behalf of Darnell Donald. Father, he is his whereabouts are unknown, but I am ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the kids, here and ready.
All right then, Ms. Peoples, what do we have new since the court report was filed?
So Talia, yesterday she tested positive for RSV. So she's pretty sick this week. She was previously hospitalized back in February, but foster mom's taking care of her this week. So hopefully she can get over that fast. Other than that, the kids are doing really well in their placement. I did send Aklita to do another UA last week on the 27th, and she tested positive for cocaine. So that is the update.
Has she done any other services?
She has not completed any right now, but she is working on them.
Has she done an OSAR?
Yes, but we are asking that she does another OSAR. She did one with her FBSS case back in September, but we're requesting that she does another OSAR.
Okay, based on this last drug screen, obviously.
Mhm.
Okay. Is it your position she's in compliance with her service plan at this time?
Yes, she is.
All right, any contact then, as far as your contact, have you had any contact with Mr. Garza or Mr. Donald?
Yes, I've been meeting with Israel every month. I saw him yesterday at Potter. And I attempted to meet Darnell last month. I had a new number for him, but he didn't meet me. So
Miss Peoples, have you been able to get the number you have to Mr. Michelson, his attorney?
I can.
If you would get that to him so he can try to contact him, let him know that he's his attorney.
Yes.
Okay. All right then, Ms. Sapien.
I don't have anything new to report, Your Honor. I just learned about these drug screen results with everyone else, so I'll be talking to my client.
Okay, and Mr. Michelson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing to report. I'm just, like Mr. Trout said, if I could get the numbers so I could contact him.
Okay. All right, sir. And Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, the kids.
I'm sorry, Mr. I apologize, Mr. Hammond.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Peoples, in your conversation with Israel out at the jail, did he mention to you that he has an uncle that would be interested in keeping Talia?
He did, yes.
Has the department reached out to that uncle?
Yes, that uncle was actually the backup caregiver for Israel while he still had Talia in his custody. And after she was removed, we put her with her siblings in foster care.
Okay, and that's just based on the general policy, you want to keep the kids together?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, anything further, Mr. Hammonds?
No, Judge.
Okay. All right, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, I visited with all the kids in their placement. They are doing great in their new schools. They changed this semester and super excited about it. Doing really well. They're very excited that their little sister is there with them as well. I have no concerns. They seem to be thriving there, and I would recommend that placement continue.
All right.
Judge, can I ask Ms. Peoples something real quick?
Sure.
Ms. Peoples, in the report, y'all asked for hair follicle and UA on mom today, but you just said she tested about a week ago?
Yeah, just a hair follicle today.
Okay. Judge, we had asked for a hair follicle today on mom. And that, as we talked about earlier, that mom be ordered another OSAR. Or to complete the OSAR.
All right, then today I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue the children's placements. I'll find there's a continuing danger to return the children home at this time. The department's using reasonable efforts to reunify the family. I'll order Ms. Chandler to submit to a hair test today before 4 p.m. and to complete a new OSAR as part of her service plan. And that will become one of the required services in the service plan. And then I will see everybody back on June 27th of 2024 on a 9 o'clock docket. And that will be our next review hearing. Okay. Thank you all very much. Ms. Chandler, you need to be there before 4 today or it's deemed a positive result.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
An initial permanency hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Rachel Peoples is a permanency specialist. We're present ready.
Vince Nowak on behalf of Roxana Ramirez. I am present, Judge. I do not see my client on screen.
And Joel Jackson on behalf of the father, Von Herth Bonswan. I'm present and my client is not available.
Stacy Zabala for the child.
Okay, what do we have new?
Roxana got out of Senecor. She graduated February 6th, I believe. I've had a pretty sporadic contact with her since she got out. It was pretty steady for about a week. And she was doing pretty well. And then it's been on and off since then. But other than that, I've tried to meet with phone wrath, and I have been unable to meet with him. I hadn't had any contact with him, but he did end up texting me off of Roxana's phone. So I'm assuming they're probably back together. But I attempted to meet him twice and was unable to. So
Did he just not show up for the meeting, or?
I asked him if he could meet me at the office twice, and he didn't come to the office. And then I went to the address that's listed on his finders, which is the Goldenrod address. And there was a man outside, but he said that Von Rath wasn't there, but that he would be back later. So I believe he is staying there. I just haven't been able to make any contact with him yet.
Okay.
May I ask Ms. Peoples some questions, Your Honor?
Sure.
Ms. Peoples, with your sporadic contact, do you have concerns of Ms. Ramirez not staying on her sober path right now?
Yes.
Was she recommended for outpatient with Senecor?
Yes.
Or was she recommended for it, or is she approved through it since she graduated to keep
She was approved for it since she graduated. If you graduate, you can do outpatient with Senecor.
Okay. Would you like to see her continue on her road to sobriety through their outpatient program?
Yes, I would like for that to be court ordered for her. She really needs to be in some type of intensive drug rehabilitation really throughout this case, just because of her prior history of drug use.
Okay. And you said since she has gotten out of graduated from Senecor, contact with you has been kind of sporadic.
Yeah, it was steady for about a week and then it just kind of dropped off.
Okay. So you're asking the court today to court order her to complete an outpatient?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Judge, we would make that request today that in order to help maintain her sobriety since graduating, that she be court ordered to complete an outpatient program as well.
I mean, I assume that was one of their recommendations.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, and any report on the child?
He's doing really well in his placement. He gets along really well with his other foster siblings, and he's in a really good home. I really enjoy going to see him every time. So I get to go see him this week. So I'm excited for that. But nothing new. He's really developmentally on track, like very well. So
yeah.
And Ms. Peoples, when was the last time mom drug screen for you. What was that date?
She went and drug screened.
2/14?
Muted myself. That hair follicle was positive.
And that was on February 14th.
Mhm.
Okay. And she hasn't done a UA or anything for you since?
No, we would like to request a court-ordered UA today.
Okay, and that's where I was getting to. Judge, we'd ask to go ahead for mom and dad to be ordered to drug screen today.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Nothing from me, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Nowak.
Thank you so much, Judge. Just briefly, Rachel, you got a text from the dad from mom's phone number?
Yes.
Is that the phone number ending 3295 or 0128?
That is the one ending in 2969.
Would you do me a favor and shoot me an email or a text message, whichever easier to get me that phone number?
Yes.
And what did she test positive for on February 14th?
Methamphetamines. And marijuana.
This one breaks my heart because Roxanne was in great communication during Senate Court for a couple of weeks, well, at least a week after she graduated. You know, I explained to her what the pink cloud is and how important aftercare is. And I really thought that we had this one. I've reached out to her. I've begged her to get a hold of me. I told her relapse. We can address that, but she's got to be in contact. Judge, that's all I have for the court. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate your attempts to contact her. Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Judge. Ma'am, you had made reference earlier in your testimony to a goldenrod address.
Yes.
Is Roxana at that address? Do you know?
I believe she still is. I went and picked her up from there the beginning of February, and that's where she was living. So I think she's still there.
Do you have reason to believe that Fonswan is there as well?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And could you tell me, as far as visits are concerned, is the father making any visits, or when's the last time he'd seen the child?
He has not reached out or attempted to get any visits set up. To my knowledge, I don't think he's had a visit throughout this case.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, Raphael is doing very well. He just turned 2. He's talkative, growing, eats his veggies. And I've got no concerns about the placement, and I do recommend that continue. The report states that visits with mom will continue to be virtual until the hair follicle comes back. And so that addresses any concern I have in terms of visits. It sounds like visits with mom have been kind of sporadic, but part of that may have been during the time that she was in rehab. So I would just recommend that continue, that they be virtual until a clean hair follicle.
Okay, then I'm going to order them to go drug test as requested today. I assume you want to just UAs on both of them?
Yes, ma'am. Mom just did the hair follicle last month, so yes, ma'am, UA on both.
Okay. All right, and then I'll continue the department as temporary managing inserter and continue placement. Find that there is a continuing danger to return the child home at this time, and that the department's using reasonable efforts to reunify the family. And I would want the visits to stay virtual till we have clean drug screens.
And what about the outpatient program, Your Honor? Can we get
And yeah, I'm looking back, make sure I catch everything. No, it's okay. So I will make the outpatient treatment would make sense that would be through Senacor as part of her service plan, and order her into that program through the duration of the case. Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes.
if I I've just got a question or two more for Ms. Peoples, if I could, please.
Sure.
Ms. Peoples, have you had any direct contact with the father in this case? Have you spoke to him?
Other than the text that he sent me, no.
Okay, and I take it, well, so you don't know whether he can speak or understand English or not?
Yes, I don't know.
Okay, all right, no further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, then I'll see everybody back on June 25th of 2024 on a 9 o'clock docket. Mr. Nowak, you can, assuming you can get in touch with your client and or Ms. Peoples, I would like to convey to Ms. Ramirez and Mr. I'm going to say it wrong, Contras. I typically in this situation would probably be setting that date as a final hearing because of the lack of progress, but because mom did actually go to Senacor and complete, I want to give an opportunity for her to sort of get back on track. So that's the only reason I'm not going to set that for a final today. So, this is kind of strike two, so to speak. Okay. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Rachel. Just a friendly reminder to send me that phone number, and Judge May be excused.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go vote. Thanks, y'all.
We're here today on each case
Thank
set
you.
for our initial
Thank you.
permanency hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Jalissa Bird is my permanency specialist. We're present, ready, and
Natalie Archer for Araceli Chavaria, and we are both, I'm present and ready, and she's appearing by phone.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of the kids.
All right, thank you. Okay, can we get an update from Ms. Bird then?
Yes, at this time, both boys are currently at maternal grandmother's home. They're doing well in school and in placement. They, both like school, like being at grandmother's, love grandmother's cooking, doing well. Mom, I have been able to make contact with mom monthly, and I am going out to see her at the Potter County Jail. She did mention she's working on some classes at the Potter County Jail. So we just talked about getting some of those certificates of the classes that she's taking. Mr. Marin, I have not heard from Mr. Marin in January or February. I did talk with maternal grandmother. She did say she heard from him about 2 weeks ago. So I believe he may have a different number. So she plans to provide that number to me so I can get in touch with Mr. Marin. And then Mr. Peralta, I have not had any contact with. At last I was told by his mother that he is in Austin, living on the streets, and his whereabouts are unknown.
And Ms. Bird, I believe my office sent asking for a affidavit of inability to locate. If we could get that, Judge, we haven't been able to serve either one of the fathers in this case. So we would, once we get that affidavit from Ms. Bird, we'll be asking to be able to publish on the dads.
I will get that to you. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right, very good. Okay, and anything else new?
No, not at this time.
Okay. All right, Ms. Archer.
Ms. Barrett, has mom been cooperative with you?
Yes, she has.
And was she able to complete an OSAR, even though while incarcerated?
I have not got an update of an OSAR. I know she attempted to schedule it, but I didn't get confirmation that it was completed.
Okay, and she does appear to want to work services, right, when she gets out?
Correct, yes.
And has she had any phone calls with the kids?
Yes, she has had phone calls with Grace. They've had, I believe, a few virtuals, and then they do have some phone calls.
Have those gone well, as far as you know?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Bird, do we have any information on mom's current status as far as, is she waiting transfer? Is she waiting trial? Where are we?
I know she had a pending deposition. I know that she was needing I guess a address, a place to live. I know her parents mentioned possibly getting a trailer and hopefully getting her a place to live and then possibly bonding her out. That was the last update I have, that she's possibly also pending a charge. So we're just kind of waiting at this time.
And Judge, from what I've been able to find on it, I haven't, the jail roster, the public jail roster states that it's a pending disposition, but I haven't seen an Odyssey where a charge has been filed, so I don't know that this current charge she's sitting on has been indicted yet. I think they're waiting for indictment on this. So I'm not exactly sure where that status on this case is right now. But she does have a bond set, just has not made that bond yet.
Okay. All right. Okay, if it's all right, Ms. Archer, I just want to ask Ms. Chavaria if she's got any new information about any of that.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. I'm just I'm probably going to either be going to Safe P or to not TDC because I messed up on my probation. I don't know for sure if I'll get ISF or if they'll do anything else. I got out on probation and caught new charges, so to me what it seems like is I'm going to have to go either do a program or go to do TDC time. So I don't think I'll be able to complete any services within the next year. If I get bonded out, I really haven't talked much to my lawyer. He did mention something about mental health court, but I don't know because I'm not one to get in trouble, so I don't know how the system works.
I believe her lawyer is Brooks Barfield. Is that correct?
No, I haven't. That was for my original first charge. I caught new charges, and my new lawyer is Lyndon B. Ray.
And Judge, just since Mom spoke about it, just tell you what I know on it. She had a assault public servant that she pled at the end of November and was put on 5 years deferred and then was rearrested on this new charge December 29th. I don't really know where the offense date was, if it was before she pled or how that works out. But from what she's saying, it sounds like they may be looking at revoking on the probation. I haven't seen that filed yet, but that sounds like what she's talking about.
Okay.
But yes, Lyndon Ray is her criminal attorney on the new one, and Brooks was on her first case that was pled in November.
All right, and I just want to ask Ms. Chavaria, do you have any other information about either father, how to contact them or where they might be or anything like that?
No, both fathers have been pretty much absent their whole lives.
Okay. All right. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, both kids are doing really, really well with grandmother. Now, grandmother is struggling financially, and she was telling me that that this is the third time that Sabian's lived with her, and in the past, their SSI benefits have been redirected to her. I don't know if I didn't know it or if it fell off my radar screen, but apparently both children receive SSI benefits. So if we could reach out to Anthony, I think it's Badkey, with the department to see about the SSI benefits. I don't know if there are kinship funds available. I don't know if there's anything that we can redirect towards placement. But she's really struggling, and that would help with the boys. But the boys are doing great.
Okay, Ms. Bird, do you know anything about that?
Yes, I know that previously when she did apply for the kinship benefits, I believe her income was too high, so she was denied. She did have moved some things around and basically separated their business, which is a trucking business. And she was able to separate those things and wanted to reapply. So she is currently working on reapplying for the kinship benefits. I did reach out to Anthony Badkey. I know that he wasn't able to see I believe, child support, because she mentioned she wanted to possibly look into child support. And then I know Anthony was looking into the SSI, but he was not sure at that time. So I can follow up with him today to get an update.
And I'd have to believe that even if child support was ordered, from the information we're getting about fathers, there's probably not anything being paid in for child support.
So I think that based on what Mom has told us today, I mean, I would like to suggest, and I know that right now we don't have Mr. Peralta or Mr. Marin, you know, on our radar. But I think to the extent that Ms. Archer, you and your client and maybe the department could talk or mediate or have informal settlement discussions, that might be wise, because, you know, as you well know, we've only got so much time to reach a final disposition in these cases. And it kind of sounds to me like Mom is going to be in jail and or transferred and working a longer term program beyond the dismissal date in this case. So, you know, just seems kind of logical. Kids are with maternal grandmother. They're doing well there. They're comfortable there. You know, that this may be what the long-term solution is going to be. So yeah, I'm all in favor of us looking into the SSI benefits, all of that. And, it doesn't seem to me that either father is going to have much of a dog in the fight. So, so maybe an arrangement could be worked out with Mom. We can move forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, can I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't mind giving my mom custody for the meantime, as long as I'm able to get my kids back when I get out. So like that, it could be easier for her. You know what I mean?
I understand, ma'am. And I'm going to let you discuss that with Ms. Archer. Because there's all kinds of ways this case could be resolved. There's any number of scenarios. That could be one of them. So, I think you and Ms. Archer can discuss that and talk about it. And, then we'll go from there. But there's many different ways that this could turn out. So I just, understand that there's not just one outcome here. Okay. So I'm sure that Ms. Archer will be happy to visit with you further about that. All right, then. For today, I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I will continue the children's current placement with their grandmother. I will find that there would be a continuing danger to return the children home to any of the parents at this point in time, and if not impossible to do so. That the department is using reasonable efforts to reunify the family, and that, excuse me, we need to try to get some financial support redirected to the grandmother if that's feasible. And I will see everybody back. Our next review hearing is June 27th, 2024, and that'll be on a 9:00 docket. Do y'all feel like you need me to order you to mediation, or Ms. Archer, is this something you think, you all want to just try to have an informal settlement conference or something about counter offer, so to speak?
I know you asked Ms. Archer, Judge. I would ask just for an informal settlement at this time. Ms. Archer, if you would speak to your client, kind of lay out the options for her and kind of see where she wants to go. I'll get with Ms. Bird, and once you get that done, let me know. We'll get together and kind of see what direction we're looking at. And if we decide later that we need a mediator to help lay out some stuff, Judge, we'll contact the court.
I agree. I think we can work it out.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Not trying to tell you guys how to do your case, but I just, there's just some handwriting on the wall about where this is all headed. And I think the sooner we can start trying to talk about it, the better.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, then. Ms. Chavaria, good luck to you. And Ms. Archer will talk with you about all that. And I appreciate your appearing today.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
We are here in both cases on review hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom or live stream, and Ms. Taylor is making our record this morning. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Marissa Herrera is my permanency specialist, and Judge, I'm not seeing her on the screen. Is she in?
Well, hang on, we're bringing her in. Sorry.
That's fine.
We'll get her in.
Marissa Herrera is my permanency specialist. We're present, ready on.
Ryan Turman on behalf of respondent father, Derek Bennett. We are both present and ready.
Bill Taylor, representing Joshua Fletcher, father of Aubrey, and he's present, audio only. His video is apparently not working, but he is present audio, and I'm ready on.
Your Honor, I'm Tate. Go ahead.
Sorry, Tate, go ahead.
Your Honor, I'm Tate Eldridge. I represent the mother, Ariana Galloway. We're both present, ready. Excuse me, Stacy.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of Pandora, who goes by Sage, and Audrey, who goes by Hazel.
All right, then we've got Ms. Herrera logged in. So Ms. Herrera, if you'll unmute and give us an update.
And
Yes,
Judge, real quick before Marissa says it, I'm sorry, Marissa. Right after the last hearing, the paternity test regarding Mr. Fletcher and the child came back and did not exclude Mr. Fletcher. So we have not adjudicated him yet, but that came back shortly after the last hearing that he is the father of Audrey.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Herrera, you may go ahead.
It's okay. So Miss Galloway, the mother, she has attended the past 4 virtual visits consistently, and she had a drug screen February 15th that came back for a UA positive for methamphetamine and marijuana. And we also sent her for her OSAR. Well, we sent the referral and they could not get in touch with her, so she's not been able to start that OSAR yet. Mr. Bennett, he attended his BIP class, his intake, and so his first class will start March 13th of this month. And then we've talked to him because he's still testing positive for marijuana, as well as not having stable housing. So we've had very serious conversations about he needs to get those done in order for us to move forward with any type of reunification. As far as Mr. Fletcher, there's no update since the court report. Everything is going well. He's still in rehab in Lubbock and doing very well.
Okay, let me stop real quick. Ms. Galloway, do you have video?
Okay.
Ms. Galloway, if you're on a telephone, I think you can try, let's see, what is it, *6 to unmute. All right, Ms. Herrera, while she's attempting that, anything else from St. Francis?
No, ma'am. The children remain in a relative placement down in Lubbock and they're doing okay.
Are they with a maternal or paternal relative?
Maternal.
Okay. Mr. Eldridge?
So, Your Honor, I spoke to Ariana yesterday, so I'll try to speak on her behalf here. She knows that she needs to go take a drug test. I assume she'll probably do that. You guys will order that today, I'm guessing. She's willing to take that. Hopefully that'll be clean this time. She just sent the message. She's going to reach out to OSAR and get that started. I've talked to her yesterday and advised her that we're going to run out of time on this case, that she needs to get on this and get her services completed promptly as fast as she can. And that's kind of where we are. I can't really ask for anything moving forward until she gets some of these services done and we get some clean drug screens back.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Taylor?
As caseworkers already said, Josh was doing well with his rehab. He's roughly 5 months into it, and when he gets 6 month mark, he'll be able to go to work. He's already looking for employment, and I think he's visits are going well. He reports that everything's going well.
Okay. Great. All right, and Mr. Turman.
Judge, I also think things are going overall well. I believe Mr. Bennett is still struggling with financial stability and some of the issues that surround that as far as stable transportation and issues such as that. The one more specific issue he asked me to raise today was just that he apparently has tried a handful of times or more to get gifts from him to the child, but for whatever reason, those gifts have been refused, as I understand it, or just not given to the child. So we would like, I mean, I don't know if there's a more specific reason why his gifts aren't getting to her, but if possible, we would like for his gifts to make it to her.
It's not the fact of getting to her, it's the fact of every time she gets something new from me, there's always something new along the lines of she breaks out in hives or in something else. Like, I never had these problems here when she was with me. Now that she's in someone else's care, 2 different placements she's been in, she's broken out, and I don't understand why. And I know they're not my doing because I feed her everything that I used, like when we go out to Brahms or whatever, I'll get her fries like I always do when she lived with me. She never broke out. I'll feed her fruit here. She never breaks out. And all of a sudden now she's breaking out on all kinds of things for all kinds of reasons. Like, it's just frustrating.
Yeah, Mr. Bennett.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me just tell you that sometimes children of this age begin to develop food sensitivities or true food allergies. And a lot of times these things don't really start manifesting themselves till they get to be 2, 3, 4 years of age. And if she's got some food sensitive or food allergies, we may just be really kind of
Okay, so this
learning
is
about that.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
Babies generally, gluten isn't an issue for them. Okay. But once we start solid foods and they start eating more and more other kinds of foods, and sometimes these things start creeping up. So I don't know, Ms. Herrera, does she seem to have certain food sensitivities or allergies, or what are we dealing with?
We're seeing an allergist or somebody along those lines to figure out where these reactions are coming from. Placement is on top of that already.
And Judge, I don't know if it looks like Mom put something in the chat that child has had allergy. So it may be something that was developing prior and is just getting worse.
Okay. So if placement's on top of it, they'll probably test her to try to find out what we need to avoid at this time. And sometimes that is just a process of elimination. They'll eliminate a whole lot of things from her diet and then maybe slowly work them back in, see if she reacts. So it's a tedious task, is all I can say. It just takes some time. So
I understand that.
Okay. But bottom line is we're going to try to figure it out. So.
And Judge, the department would also ask for, I believe, hair follicle on Mom today. Hair follicle on Mom today is what the department would be asking for.
Okay, I was going to ask you to clarify that. So yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I think she just did a UA, as Ms. Herrera said, not too long ago. So we would just need the hair follicle.
Okay. Mr. Turman?
I have nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, I wanted to address with Ms. Herrera something that's in the report for Hazel, Audrey. It sounds like you just reported that Mom has now made her last 4 virtual visits, but prior to that, in your report, you talk about them being very inconsistent, about half of them missed. And do you believe that the inconsistency of those visits, that was hard on Hazel?
Yes, ma'am.
Did it result in a lot of behavior, or it appeared to result in a lot of behavior?
Yes, that's how placement felt with the inconsistencies with mom popping on and the girls were getting upset. Yes.
And did Hazel have to switch daycare because of behavior issues?
That's what they believe, yes.
You talk about a therapist recommendation about stopping those visits. But I know in between when you wrote this report and now she's been more consistent. So have you received a therapist recommendation to stop mom's visits?
Yes, I did receive the therapist letter recommending that we stop all visits with mom until she attends 3 of her own counseling sessions. I had talked to my superiors and we felt that really wasn't appropriate for one therapist to recommend mom counseling sessions without talking to mom or knowing mom. So what we did is we took out the check-in at 12 to hopefully help her not have to check in at 12 and have the visits canceled. And we just are going to let her just hop on at 5:30, and that's been helpful.
Okay, so previously there was a check-in put in place to make sure she would show up, and she was missing that check-in.
Sometimes, yes.
Okay, so that was removed?
Yes, that was just removed this week because she had done 3 consecutive visits, and so we removed it this week to also help just encourage her to be more consistent. We only put the check-in in because we weren't having any contact with her at all, and so we were getting the children prepared for visits, and then she wasn't showing up. And so we put that check-in place because we didn't know where she lived, where she was at, or anything about her. And so we were hoping that email check-in every day at 12 when she had a visit would help. And it still remained pretty inconsistent.
So I'm glad to hear that she's been coming now, but it puts the kids back in that same position of sitting there waiting, not knowing if she's going to log on, right?
No, we have talked to placement and told placement, do not tell the girls they're having a visit that day. Our family support worker will text placement and say, mom is on the visit now. And then they're just like, okay, mom's on visit, let's hop on. And that's helped a little bit as well. So the girls aren't sitting there waiting for mom to hop on. Placement just says, okay, let's go have a visit with mom. And so that's why it's kind of helping that transition. The girls still kind of know they're supposed to get visits somewhat, but they're not old enough to know on Mondays I get visits at this time. And so it's a little helpful.
Okay. And you said, was it the UA that was positive for meth?
Yes, on February 15th. Yes, ma'am. She refused the hair follicle that day.
Your Honor, I've got no further questions. Both girls seem to be doing good in placement. I do have concerns about the inconsistency of visits and how hard that is on them, but it does sound like there's been progress. And we are getting reports of Hazel especially having some night tremors, things like that, but it sounds like they're doing some medical review on that. It would be my recommendation that placement continue and that we continue to monitor mom's visits to make sure that they're happening routinely. And if we're back to a situation where the girls are having to miss a bunch of those, that we look at stopping those visits, but hopefully they will continue the way they've been going the last few weeks.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, my client is, she can't talk, I guess, but she's sending some things in this chat over here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but she was homeless for a while. She's homeless and she's pregnant. She's had a hard time getting a job because she's clearly pregnant. And now she's got a little bit more. She doesn't have a job, but she's stable, got a place to live, and she's got internet service and all that. So things should be better along that front, hopefully.
Okay.
And Your Honor, Joshua speaking. In the time that I've been here, I've been trying to get everything situated. So I am coming up to my 5th month being here. I start work next month on the 10th. I'm trying to get into a job of pesticide and herbicide, like spraying for bugs and weeds and stuff like that, which pays real good. But at this time, I would also like to ask for an extension on the case just for another 6 months, because by that time I should be able to have a job in stable housing 2 months after I get out, by the time that the case gets done and over with, by the end of that extension.
Okay, let me just address that with you. Mr. Fletcher, so the dismissal date in the case right now is scheduled for June 3rd. So our final is scheduled for May 28th. And what will happen between now and then, and usually closer to that date, is all the parties to the case will discuss it and talk about kind of where we're at. And then, if an extension is requested, then that can be presented to me at that time. And I'll make a determination then whether or not there is what we call extraordinary circumstances to extend the case. That's what the law requires. So it's a little premature to do that. I understand why you're asking that, and I'm assuming that your attorney will probably re-up that request closer to that dismissal date.
Of course. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Anybody have anything further today?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. Just the request for the hair follicle from mom, and if we need to adjudicate Mr. Fletcher today.
Yeah, gonna do that. Okay. So, Mr. Fletcher, since the genetic testing has been concluded and it did not exclude you as the father of Audrey, at this time, I'm going to adjudicate you as the legal father, establish the parent-child relationship between you and the child. I am also going to order Ms. Galloway to go do the hair screening today before 4 p.m. We'll make sure that paperwork is out there. I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue the children's placement. I find that there is a continuing and ongoing danger to return the children home today, and that the department's using reasonable efforts to reunify the family. All right, so as stated, our final is set for May 28th, so I'll see everybody back then. If there's going to be a request for the extension, council, you all know that those need to be submitted, in advance and or discussed among everybody, preferably. But we'll take it up at the appropriate time. And so I wish you all parents continued good luck and progress, and I'll see you back then.
Thank you, Ma'am.
Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a blessed day.
Today, in each case, you as well. Review hearings. We're conducting this through Zoom. We are live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record this morning. Okay, we'll take announcements.
Daniel Trout with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Christy Ashley is my primacy specialist. We're present ready.
I'll go. Ryan Turman on behalf of respondent father Horatio Jaquez. We are both present and ready.
Jay Michelson on behalf of the mother, Kimberly Contras. She is present and we're ready.
Lorraine Lucero on behalf of the father, Miguel Contreras, on the Contreras children. Your Honor, we're present and ready.
Stacy Zavala for the children.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Ashley, we'll get an update.
All right, so since the court report was filed, not a lot has happened. The kids are doing very well. They're still continuing to have some dental work done. O'Reilly did have an illness, went to the doctor and was treated. Kimberly made her appointment for an intake assessment with Centacor that is scheduled for March 12th. And I did receive therapy notes on March 2nd for the Contras children.
All right, I want to make sure I understood you. You're saying mother has an intake?
For outpatient.
Outpatient? Okay.
This is her third time to attend outpatient. She was previously discharged on 2 other occasions for missing too many times. So they did let me know that they would likely accept her again, but that if she missed even 1 time, that it would be an automatic discharge.
Okay. Then Mr. Michelson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I know, speaking with Kimberly, she's concerned she's at 286 days of sobriety, and according to the state of Texas, once you reach 365 days, apparently the state of Texas will not pay for treatment. So she's concerned about getting into treatment prior to the anniversary date. Kimberly said that this last occasion, it wasn't through her delay. There's been a couple of delays because of family issues with the intake worker. So she's scheduled on March 12th for the current intake.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Lucero.
Your Honor, Mr. Contras wanted me to let the court know. I guess there was an alcohol screening, and he was positive for alcohol on a UA. He just wanted the court to know that he had family members over. They had a few drinks, and I explained to him that during the pendency of this case, he cannot be drinking. I guess he didn't quite understand that, but he wanted the court to know that he hasn't drank any alcohol or done anything, and he's been clean for over 30 days. So that's kind of where we're at. I did have a question for the worker, Your Honor.
Sure.
As far as are there any type of visits? I know they're set up, and I know what the report says, and I've spoken with Mr. Contras, but are there any other plans for visits at this time?
No, they just have the 2-hour visit once per week.
Okay. And as far as how are those going?
I don't think they're going great because from January 11th until February 15th, only one of the children was going. As of February 29th, it's back to just the younger two.
Okay. And are those visits just at the department, or where are they at?
They're at the visitation house.
Okay. Is it possible since they're having issues, some of the kids don't want to attend, and I know this case has been ongoing for quite a while, but would it be possible to set up maybe the kids that aren't wanting to attend can see that there's changes in the parents and maybe start working towards visits?
I speak to the children about attending visits every time I see them, and their therapist is asking them about visits as well. The oldest child, who is Horacio's, attends occasionally. The two oldest Contras children refuse.
Okay. And as far as Mr. Contras's services, I see in the report that he is in compliance, correct? He's been working his services?
Yes.
Would St. Francis oppose therapeutic visits if they were ordered by the court?
I've spoken to the children and the therapist about therapeutic visits, and the children that are refusing to go to visits are refusing therapeutic visits as well.
Okay. And you stated earlier that you had obtained some therapy notes for the children. Do you have therapy notes for all the Contras children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And could you provide that to the attorneys?
Yes, I just received those on the 2nd through email, so I can send those over.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Let me just address the alcohol issue. Mr. Contras, your alcohol use is one of the big reasons why we're here. I guess I'm really confused as to why you thought it was okay to drink.
Creo que ella está confundida de que por qué tomaste, pues. He said he wasn't really sure. He wasn't really sure about that.
Okay. Well, he's sure about it now, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Sí entiendes ahora.
Okay. Ms. Ashley, has he done any kind of AA, any sort of treatment like that?
No, ma'am. He completed the OSAR, but that is, of course, a self-reporting assessment. So there were no recommendations made by the OSAR.
Okay. And when was that test that came back positive?
February 5th.
February 5th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right. Mr. Turman.
I don't really have anything to add, Judge. I visited with my client. I think everything's going okay.
All right. Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, the children are thriving in their placements. They're all incredibly smart and very vocal. And I would just ask that the decision regarding visitation from the children be respected.
Okay.
Judge, if I may real quick.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ashley, I know we talked, most of what we've talked about is with the Contras children, and the parents there. As far as Mr. Turman's client, Horatio, how is he doing? I think I saw a alcohol test come back also positive on him. Of course, he's non-offending parent right now. Has that been discussed with him?
I did try to reach him to discuss the test results, but I was unable to reach him. He did test positive for alcohol on 2/21. He's completed his services except for the individual counseling, which we've had an issue finding a Spanish-speaking counselor for him. He's not having any face-to-face visits at this time. So,
are they doing any virtual visits?
they have a scheduled virtual visit. Most of the time that does get canceled.
Okay.
And they are allowed to text and have phone conversations. So that's the way they prefer to handle that.
And is that the canceling of the virtual visits, is that two-sided, or is that the child doesn't want or the dad's not making? What are we looking at on that?
Typically the child, she just does not like virtual visits.
Okay.
It's uncomfortable for her, so she just prefers to speak to him on the phone.
Okay, but they do have contact that way.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to clarify on a couple of things. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may, I wanted to add a couple of things if I can, please.
Oh, sure.
I understand the testimony that the kids, really don't want to visit, with the parents. And I'm not saying that we need to force the children to visit, but it's been a while since they've had any contact. I don't know if they're aware of the progress that the parents have made. So I don't know how we'll ever get to that point. I was hopeful that we could have maybe just, I don't know how it would work, maybe like a virtual type of visit, or because otherwise we're coming up to the end of this case and there's been no communication. So I don't know if it'd make a difference to the children to see a change in the parents, but I believe it'd be worth a shot to try something. So I'm not sure exactly what we can try, but maybe a virtual therapeutic visit, just something.
Well, I haven't seen the therapy notes. I don't know whether Mrs. Zavala has seen the therapy notes.
I have, Your Honor.
Okay. And Ms. Zavala, is part of your recommendation based on those therapy notes that the children that do not want to visit not be forced to visit?
That is correct.
Okay. So, generally speaking, I defer that kind of, I defer that to the children's therapist because, my experience is to try to force them to do that is an even bigger disaster. They lose trust in their therapist. They lose trust in their attorney. And to maybe some extent, they lose trust in me when they are forced into doing something like that. So until I have a therapist's recommendation that it would be in those children's best interest to have some contact, I'm not going to force that situation. I think the children probably, I'm assuming through Ms. Zavala and through their therapist and probably through Ms. Ashley, all know that if they change their mind and they want that contact, all they have to do is say the word. So I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, then today I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator, and I will continue the children's current placements. And I will find that it would be a continuing and ongoing danger to return the children home at this time. and that the department's still using reasonable efforts to reunify the family. Everybody just needs to continue their service plans. And we will be back for our final, which is scheduled May 14th of 2024 on the 9 o'clock docket. Trying to remember, let's see, you all are going to attend mediation, right?
Yes, ma'am. We've already done a referral on that, and I'm actually looking at that. We haven't got a date set yet, but that is one of my things to do after this hearing is to reach out to the mediator on that and get everything set up.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, we said our final was on May 14th, right?
May 14th, yes.
Okay, did not have that on my calendar. I'm glad you mentioned it. Thank you.
That's why I always mention it.
And just in case everybody hadn't seen it or doesn't remember because it's been a little while, I think we're ordered to mediate by May 1st. So I'll be reaching out, put everybody on an email on that to see if we can get a date before May 1st on that.
Okay, and just heads up, that civil commitment docket just went off yesterday. I'll be off this month, but I go back on April. So if we could try to get it done in March, that would be phenomenal. Okay. I know that's tight, but
yeah, we'll reach out and see what the mediator can do if he can get.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Dana.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much. I appreciate everybody's attendance today, and everybody have a good rest of the day.
Thanks, everybody. Oh, and Judge, if I may, just tell Mr. Hawkins, I told him I would call him and translate everything for him. Let him know in Spanish everything that was said. Señor Jaques, esto fue hemos terminado la corte. Luego voy a llamarle para contarle todo de lo que no entendió, ¿ok? Okay, perfecto. Gracias. Thank you, Judge. Sorry.
Please be sure and let Miss Katie know if we're going to need an interpreter.
I will, Judge. And honestly, we will for him. And my apologies. When I speak in Spanish with them, I don't always remember. Like I talk to my clients, and I don't always remember that they don't speak English until it's kind of too late to request an interpreter. So I will try to do a much better job of letting Miss Katie know.
We'll go ahead and make a note that he definitely will need one for the final.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor, because Mr. Contras will also need one. So, I mean, we'll need one, the same one, but we'll need an interpreter for him.
Okay, we will make note. Okay. All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. We're conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming, and Ms. Taylor's making our record. All right, we'll take announcements.
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Aaron Tyndall is my permanency specialist. We are present ready.
T.D. Hammonds for the mother, Shatasha Dean. I've been trying to reach her, Judge. I've not been able to contact her. I'm ready to proceed.
All right, she is present.
Okay.
Do you need a breakout room with her, Mr. Hammond?
Judge, let me hear the department's report first, and then I guess if I need to talk to her, I can.
Okay.
Joel Jackson for Dalvin Leckey. I'm present. I believe that my client is currently incarcerated, Judge.
All right.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the kids.
Okay. Then, Ms. Tyndall, if you'll give us an update, that'd be great.
At the moment, all of the kids are doing great in their placement. They are placed in a kinship home. They're doing wonderful. They're happy, healthy, going to school. Everything is good with the kids. They are willing to be a permanent home for the children going forward, depending on how the case goes. Mom, Miss Dean, has been somewhat in touch with me. It's been a little rough the last month, but we have been able to meet. We're still struggling getting all of our services done. There's some disagreements on completing some of the services, the parenting class in particular. And so we're just trying to get the rest of the services completed on the plan. I have not been able to get in touch with Mr. Lucky. I've sent numerous letters. I've requested a courtesy worker and have not had one assigned yet for him. I am also going to contact the social worker, hopefully.
He's on lockdown. I guess they're having a lockdown on his unit. He's been calling me when he gets the chance to try to talk to the kids. I sent him Tammy's number and told them, and Tammy said she's fine with him talking to them, but he's on lockdown, I guess majority of the time. So that's probably why.
Okay. Okay, and I hadn't even gotten that information. Like I said, I was going to reach out to a social worker with the prison to see if they could get me in touch with him as well and go that route.
Okay. What's this disagreement about parenting class?
Ms. Dean says that it was not part of her original family plan, that the original worker on it told her that she did not need it, and that the parent support worker told her as well. As far as I can tell, it is very much a part of the family plan, that it has never been taken off. I asked the parent support worker that was on the case originally for the first 90 days. She said that it is her belief that it has always been on there and that it was still a requirement.
Yes, I spoke to her as well, and we agreed, like you asked me the last time if I had completed all of my services. I completed everything that was in my service plan. And now that I have a new caseworker, she's bringing up new stuff and new things that I need to do. When at the beginning of our case, we all sat down together and went through what we were supposed to do. And so now that I have a new caseworker, she's saying new things. When she hasn't met with me and Mindy and me and Mario, sat down with Mindy and went through what we were supposed to do. So now suddenly she's bringing up new stuff because I have a new caseworker. So I'm just confused as to, because I have a new caseworker, I have a new family plan. Like I'm confused. How come I have a new family plan all of a sudden?
All right, hang on. We can put this to rest real quickly. All right, looking to see when the original plan was filed. Okay, I'm looking at the original one, which was filed, looks like back July 6th of 2023.
Your Honor, I know you're looking at it. It looks like page 9 of 12. Chatasha Dean agrees to have her evaluation and her first class completed within 30 days, agrees to attend parenting classes weekly until she's completed the program.
Yep. Okay, that's what I see on page 9. So Ms. Dean, it was in the original family plan. It's been there all along. I will just tell you that, parenting, just by nature of why we're here, is almost always a requirement.
Okay.
It just is pretty implied by the mere fact that the Department of Family and Protective Services involved with you, that parenting is probably going to be a requirement. Now that what class is required depends on the children's ages, and so that if you've got kids different ages, some parents may have to do more parenting because they got to do what's appropriate for young children and they got to do what's appropriate for older children. So, but it's in there and it's been in there from the get-go. And I have been given a copy of that plan, so it's in there. So that should take care of that in that disagreement. I ordered you to do the service plan, so you're court ordered to do that parenting class. Okay. All right, Mr. Hammonds.
Judge, I really don't have anything further to present. If I could, Miss Dean, do you have a pen and paper there handy?
Yes. Okay.
And we can discuss your concerns, and I need to talk to you about some information, that I saw that I just need to confirm with you. Do you have any questions of me or the judge at this point?
Yes, I spoke with Erin yesterday, and she said that y'all they are trying to inspect. Her and her boss changed the plan to, instead of trying to get this back with me, they're trying to get them with somebody else. Which they don't know if I'm getting probation. I don't know if I'm getting probation. But I could be getting probation, and they're trying to take away my rights and give them to somebody else. But I've been cooperating the whole time.
Okay, Ms. Dean, that's what you're probably saying, or she's saying.
Yes, they're trying to look into adoption instead of getting the kids back to me.
Okay, I'm trying to answer.
Because I've been doing everything that I said that I was supposed to do.
Okay, I'm trying to answer that.
Yes,
they reevaluate periodically about what the goal in the case is.
Yes,
so periodically they meet and have a discussion about, is the goal still family reunification, or is the goal relative or unrelated adoption? Okay. Now, I did not see yet that goal has been changed. I don't recall seeing that. But that doesn't mean that they may not have a discussion about it. Because they periodically do have discussions about that throughout the case. So let me just ask, Ms. Tyndall, has that meeting occurred yet?
Yes, we held that meeting since the court report has been filed, and we staffed that with our director and my supervisor, and those goals have been changed. To related adoption or unrelated adoption as a concurrent goal.
All right, and is the basis for that she's not completed services, or that she's got the outstanding criminal problems, or what's the basis?
Both of those, because we have such a lack of completing our services. We are getting down to the timing on this case, and then also these unknown criminal charges that are pending.
But I've only missed one service. I've completed all of my services besides that one. So how is it the lack of completed services?
Let me ask Ms. Tyndall. All right, has she completed everything else?
We are waiting on an OSAR assessment due to the fact that we have had some positive drug screens. I have already reached out and set that up. They are supposed to be reaching out to Ms. Dean to get that set up. I've asked for an update from our new assessor that is doing that, and I have not received any information. And then because we were refusing parenting classes, those are the ones we not completed.
The OSAR is on y'all side, and I've only had one positive drug screen. And that was for marijuana, one positive marijuana drug screen the last time. But all of my other ones have been negative. Every single one has been negative, besides one. So how is that?
Hang on. So Ms. Tyndall, has she had any other drug screens that were positive other than one?
I show we had a positive for marijuana in June, around June 14th. We also had positive for cocaine on June 14th. We had a positive marijuana on July 7th, and then we had positive for marijuana on November 8th. And then we have done a UA on...
That is not true.
March 1st. And that one has come back negative, and I'm waiting on a hair follicle to be completed.
That is not true. No, that is not true. I would never, I don't do drugs. So how would I have a positive for cocaine on June? The first one was positive. The first initial drug test when we first got out of jail was positive. That was the only one. And then I had another one. That's not true. What she said is not true.
Well, Ms. Dean, I think it'd be real important for you to talk to your lawyer, and he wants you to call him. So I think you need to discuss some of these things. Bottom line, we're not here to do a final. This isn't a trial. I'm just getting an update, but you understand there are still some services that you need to work. You need to do the parenting.
Yes, ma'am. Only owe them one service, which I didn't even know I had. Because remember the last time you asked me, I said I completed everything. I thought I was done with everything. Had I known that was already in my plan, I would have already did it. That's why me and her had a miscommunication, because I thought I had completed everything.
Okay.
So only one class. And the OSAR is on their side. The OSAR lady never called me. I'm still waiting on her to call me.
Okay.
So
all right. Okay. So, but now it's very clear, you need to do parenting, and then we've got to get this OSAR done. So there's still some things outstanding. Just because the goal has been changed doesn't mean that that's automatically the outcome of the case. Okay. So you need to concentrate on getting your stuff done. You need to talk to your lawyer, and then I'll see you back, for that final in May. So there's still time for you to get things completed. All right. So now, Mr. Jackson, I need to hear from you.
Ma'am, the last time that I heard, I had received some correspondence from the department back in September that my client had been transferred to a Beaumont unit. And I was going to ask Ms. Tyndall if that's where she's been sending the correspondence to, if it was that Beaumont unit.
Yes, that is where I understood he was placed at, and that's the address I've been sending letters to.
Okay. That's all I have, Your Honor.
And Judge, just for Mr. Jackson in the court, I'm looking at the federal inmate search on that. It does still show him in the Beaumont unit with a release date of July of 2028.
Okay. And let me ask, I just want to ask Ms. Tyndall, okay, I read in the report that, of course, children are doing well in placement, but there was a concern about it being long-term placement, and you've told me today that they are willing to be long-term placement. Which is it?
So they are placed in family and she is willing to be long-term. I think she was a little overwhelmed by the fact or the thought of taking in 3 very young children when she was done raising children, but she does not want them to go to anybody other than family. So she had questioned on like a grandmother being placement. That was ruled out fairly early in the beginning of the case. And so she is willing to be long-term placement if there was no other appropriate family.
Okay, and that is purely just informational. So I just wanted to make sure that was cleared up. Okay.
And Judge, if I may, could I ask Ms. Dean a question real quick?
Yes.
Judge, is that okay?
Yes, sir, it is.
Ms. Dean, I don't want to get into what your criminal case is right now. But I was just wondering, do you have a court date or any type of meeting coming up on these? I know you said earlier you weren't sure what you would be getting or if getting anything. Do you have a court date coming up on this?
Around like July, August.
Okay.
I will have a court date.
Okay, all right. I just wasn't sure when that was set, so that's why I was asking. Thank you, Judge.
Yes,
okay.
No problem.
All right, then, Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, I've met with the kids in the home. They're doing great. They all showed me their homework and their awards from school, and they're all excited. Even Head Start, I got to hear all about that. I think Aaron phrased it correctly. The placement, I think, was hoping at some point for reunification or for it not to have to be a long-term. But if it is going to be a long-term, I think she absolutely will step up and want to keep the kids there, and they are thriving there. And I do recommend that continue.
Okay. Thank you.
And Judge, real quick, may I ask Ms. Tyndall a quick question?
Yes.
Ms. Tyndall, in the report, it doesn't mention it, but are we requesting a mediation be set on this also?
Yes, we would need a mediation.
Okay. Judge, we'd ask to go ahead and get a referral for a mediation set. I know we got the final coming up in a couple of months, I believe. But we would ask to go ahead and get a mediation set and probably a attorney mediator on, I would assume.
Mediation of what?
An attorney mediator on this one.
Attorney mediator. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I thought I heard something about paternity. So
No.
I was asking. Okay. All right.
She was saying that the visitations and stuff might change, and then we were going to discuss that today, where we were going to do supervised visits with Tammy instead of at the St. Francis building.
Ms. Tyndall, I haven't heard anything about changing visitation. What?
It had been briefly discussed with Ms. Zavala going forward, changing it to unsupervised, not unsupervised, but where placement, Tammy was going to supervise in her home rather than St. Francis supervising. We were not requesting any kind of additional time, just kind of changing up that atmosphere of, instead of being at our visitation house with us there, letting placement be the supervising party on the visitation.
Is placement agreeable to that?
Yes, she is.
Anybody have any objection to that?
No objection.
My clients don't. I have no objection to it, Chair.
Ms. Zavala?
I don't believe I have an objection to that.
Okay. All right. So that's fine. Then we'll make that change up. That's usually, I think, a positive thing. So we'll let placement do the supervising and moving forward. Okay. All right, then I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue children's placement. Find that there would be a continuing danger to return the children home at this point in time, that the department continues to use reasonable efforts to reunify the family. I will refer the case to mediation, allow placement to supervise Ms. Dean's visits. And I will see everybody back for our final on May 9th. Of 2024, and that's on a 9 o'clock docket.
And Judge, I think I forgot to ask for some. In the report, my clients were asking for drug screens for mom.
Okay.
UA and hair follicle on those.
All right, then I'll go ahead and order those to occur today before 4 o'clock. All right, so Ms. Dean, you need to do a UA and a hair out at Carrot Express before 4 p.m. today.
I just did one the day before yesterday.
Was that a UA or a hair follicle, Ms. Dean?
I did a UA. I was supposed to go back for the hair follicle. My hair was glued down. I didn't know it was a hair follicle, so I have to take my hair down, which we agreed that I would go back and do. I did a UA, but my hair was glued down. I didn't know it was a hair follicle, so I have to go back for the hair follicle part.
Okay, and that's what you're asking for, Ms. Tyndall? Just the hair follicle?
Yes, if she can go back and get the hair follicle done today.
Okay.
Okay, I'll order you to do the hair today before 4.
Okay. Okay, I can do it. Never mind. Okay.
Okay, then I'll see everybody back in May. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Miss Dean, this is TD Hammonds. If you'll please call me immediately, we can talk. I can answer all your questions.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Services.
Thank y'all.
Yolanda
All right, thank
Novak
you.
is my permanency specialist. We are present ready.
Jerry Morales for respondent father, Elijah Castile, Your Honor. I've never had any contact with him. I wrote him while he was incarcerated in Jackson County, Missouri, and also his TDCJ unit. But I am ready.
Brooks Barfield for Alexis J. She is present and ready, as am I.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of the kids.
All right, thank y'all. Okay. So the request for an extension was circulated in the case. Or let's see, wait a minute. Something else.
We picked back up from a monitored return, Your Honor.
Right. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to start the live stream. I'm doing too many things at one time. Okay, we're good on that. So all right, so yes, we picked up from a monitored return. So let's go ahead and get an update from St. Francis on what's been going on since that occurred.
Aviana and Aiden are doing okay in placement. Aviana did have an injury on Friday. I was there to visit with them, and the doorbell rang, and the kids were excited to see who was there. And they got down from the table, and they were running different directions and ran into each other. And Aviana bumped off of Aiden and hit her head on the kitchen counter. It wasn't a big scrape on the forehead, but it looked kind of deep. So foster mom did take her into urgent care to get checked out, make sure she was okay. They did super glue it, but she is okay. She did have a headache, but no other concerns with the head injury. We've had paternal grandma has started visits with Aviana and Aiden on Mondays for an hour at a time each week. She would like to be possible placement. Have started the process of a home study for her, and we're waiting for that to be completed. I have been trying to contact Alexis all month for February and have not been able to meet up with her. I have set times. She's either canceled or has not responded to meeting times with me. I've been to her apartment to try to catch her. She just hasn't responded. I ended up mailing the amended family plan of service to her address and to her mother's, just to make sure that she would receive a copy of it. So I have not been able to go over any of the amended service with her, Your Honor. I have reached out to Elijah at the prison. The family liaison at the prison has stated that either I need a court order from you to be able to see him, or he has to add me to his contact list to be able to see him during visiting hours on the weekends only. I've been sending him letters, and I've asked him to add me to his contact list, but I have not heard a response from him, ma'am.
But they're saying they would add you if they had a court order for me to add you.
They said that if I had a court order from you, they would allow me to go. They said they can't make him, he can still refuse to see me, but they would allow me in if I had an order from you. Yes.
Okay. Do you want that from me today?
I would like to see him, and I mean, I can't even call him to talk to him about his concerns. His mom did say that he has questions and things, but with it not able to speak to him, I would like to, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then, Mr. Trout, I guess y'all get something over to me and I'll sign it.
And what unit is he in? I can't remember missing that.
He's in the Montford unit in Lubbock.
Okay, all right. And Ms. Novak, you said y'all done an amended service plans, correct?
Yes, sir.
And those were filed, but you told me just a while ago, you forgot to file the ones that you and your supervisor had filed, correct?
Yes, I filed it before I signed it. I apologize. I can resend those.
But we're gonna get those filed ASAP?
Yes, sir.
As far as services, amended services that you're wanting mom to work, what are those services you're needing her to work?
We'd like to continue that she would still inform us, St. Francis, within 5 days of any changes in residence, phone number, employment. That she would obtain her own transportation for visitations or appointments. That she would locate and maintain stable housing. That she would continue to maintain stable and appropriate employment. One of the new ones is due to the recent concerns from the monitored return. We had asked that she would attend individual counseling sessions where appropriate parenting skills would be addressed in the counseling, that she would attend individual counseling until she successfully discharged from the therapist. We're asking for her to do a new OSAR and that she would need to sign a release information for me to do the referral for the OSAR. We're asking that she would do AA or NA meetings or celebratory recovery to obtain a sponsor who will work with St. Francis Ministries in her recovery by communicating with St. Francis about her attendance, her status of recovery, and that she would participate in a 12-step recovery program and to discuss the progress of thorough steps in her with her permanency specialist of her status of recovery. We also asked that she would maintain a drug-free lifestyle and abstain from the use of alcohol and illegal drugs that she does not have a prescription for. We're asking that she will attend individual counseling with the therapist. That kind of ties back into the other one, but it is a separate one related to the removal, the concerns of the removal, reunification, separation from the children, protecting her children, issues related to alcohol abuse, appropriate parenting skills, appropriate partners, and that she would engage with the therapist and will follow any and all recommendations from the therapist and continue until she's successfully released from the therapist. And we also asked that she would participate and complete a psychosocial with Pace Lawson and follow any recommendations from the psychosocial.
Okay. And to kind of talk about the counseling sessions y'all were mentioning, originally mom had done parenting classes, correct?
Correct.
And instead of doing a full new parenting class, you would ask that the parenting and the reasons for the removal from monitored return, issues with alcohol, all of that be tied into individual counseling?
Correct.
And all that to be addressed by a therapist?
Yes.
Okay.
I have spoken with Pace Lawson. Alexis had gone there previously. The therapist she had seen was not available, but there's another therapist within them that would be able to see her, but that was a month ago. I would have to recheck and make sure she can still get into them if she's okay going to Pace Lawson again.
Okay.
The therapist said that she would be able to address those concerns.
Okay. All right. Do you have, you said you've had trouble getting in contact with mom. Are you sure that the number you have is the current phone number?
Yes, she has texted me from it sporadically, and she texted me this morning to make sure we had court.
Okay. And do you know, is mom still living at the same apartment address, or is she moving? Do you know, is she permanent where she is right now?
I don't know if she's permanent. In the text she sent this morning, she said she was packing things up I don't know what that meant. I have not asked her. So I'm unsure if she's staying there or not.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you need to update the court on, or we're also asking the court today for mom to drug screen and alcohol screen, UA, hair follicle, and alcohol. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And would you ask for that by the end of, I mean, I know it's 1 o'clock right now, but by 4 or by tomorrow? When would you like that done?
Like it today, sir.
Okay. We could get that today, by today, Judge. Do you have the paperwork out and ready, or is it Ms. Novak?
Yes, we can submit it in.
Okay.
Did you say you also wanted hair or just UA for drug and for alcohol?
Hair follicle, UA, and an alcohol, Your Honor.
Okay.
All three.
Okay. Ms. Hosse, let me just say, are you willing to go back to Pace Lawson's for counseling? Is that okay with you?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. I thought I saw you nodding, but I wanted to be just sure. So, okay. All right. At this stage, I mean, I think it makes a great deal more sense to have most of these things done through the counselor.
Yes.
So I'm glad that that's the way we're approaching this. I think it's, you know, a lot better for that to be that kind of intensive one-on-one. So I think that's a good approach. Okay, then, Mr. Barfield.
I just have a couple questions. I have a couple of questions for Alexis. Alexis, what is your current living situation?
I'm still at the same place, but my lease is coming up. So that's why I was just like trying to get a head start, because I've been looking around for a new house because I kind of like, I think a house is better for me because this is my first time being in an apartment, and I'm just trying to find something lower in a budget.
Okay. Do you have do you have any questions about what's being asked of you at this particular point to try to get back on track?
No, actually, if I did, I was going to ask Yolanda because I have to go over the paperwork and all the other things that they were needing.
Okay. And as you sit right here, it sounds to me like Yolanda has your right phone number and y'all been communicating. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. I had a little bit of trouble with my services, but I got it fixed.
Okay. That's all I have, Judge. I think everything's self-explanatory.
Okay.
Judge, I have a couple of questions for Ms. Hasso.
Sure.
Ms. Hasso, you said you're packing up to try to move, but do you know where you're going yet? Have you got a house lease, or are you still just looking?
No, I've just been looking around because I was actually looking at my lease agreement, and it's in April, at the ending of April. So I was trying to do it ahead of time so I won't be last minute on that.
Okay. Just make sure once you do find a place, let Ms. Novak know so that in your moving date, so we can make sure we got all that correct.
Yes, sir.
I had another question for you. Do you have time this week, within the next couple of days, to meet with Ms. Novak and go over that service plan?
I believe we were trying to get set something up today, so I was gonna have to do that drug test and all that stuff. So I think sometime after that, I was gonna try to see what works best for all of us.
Okay. I know Ms. Novak said y'all had a couple of times where either you canceled or didn't show up. If y'all get a date, will you please show up so that y'all can go over this stuff?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Just stay in touch with her, and you said you got your phone service fixed, so try not to be sporadic and answer when she gets in touch with you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Morales.
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, anything else to report today?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, the kids are doing well in their placement, and at this time, I recommend that continue.
All right, then, for today, I'll continue the department as temporary managing inserter, and I'll continue placement. I'll find that there's a continuing danger to return children home today. Order Ms. Hosso to go UA for drugs and alcohol, and to also submit to a hair test for drugs. Find that the department's using reasonable efforts to reunify the family. And I'll see everybody back on June 25th of 2024. That's set as our final in this case. And so appreciate everybody's patience today. I'm sorry we got so far behind, and thank you for staying with us, and I appreciate it.
And
Judge,
I don't know if I,
go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead.
Judge, I don't know if I missed it. Did you actually order the amended service stuff?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I will order the amended service plan as order of the court. And it is, Ms. Hosso, it is just like the other service plans. I mean, it's now mandatory, and I will expect you to work those, and failure to work those services can mean children not go home. You know, in a worst case, it can mean termination of parental rights. So it's the same thing as before, but let's try to get this done on a little more intensive basis, and you know, everybody wants this to work. So, okay.
Yes, Judge. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Brooks, were you asking?
Well, one, I had a question about, sir, you asked what I was going to ask. It all is what I heard. I was going to ask the same question you did. And then I just wanted to confirm June 25th, 2024, Judge.
Yes, June 25th, 2024 on a 9 o'clock docket.
Okay. Well, that's my birthday, so I'm going to need a cake.
Okay. We'll make a note.
All right. Thank you.
And Judge, the new dismissal date, I don't know if you said it was July 29th.
July 29th of 2024. Yeah.